Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the next Poetry Jam Cabaret here at the Belmar Public Library. My name is Louis Polito. Welcome. Today we have our returning poets here. We have Arthur Veillot and we have Cheri Russo. And we are here to got some great poetry to share with you tonight. A lot of fun, and let's get started. Okay. So Art, go for it. What do you got for us today?
Okay, two poems by VJ. The first is called Eternal Hope.
Now, this is VJ Joshi, our other poet who can't be with us tonight, right?
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Yes, VJ Joshi. Eternal Hope. Forecast was for a wonderful sunny day. Rising at the crack of dawn, her mind did not stray. She got ready earlier than she was used to. The crisp morning was very beautiful too. In anticipation of a visit from her beloved son, her expectations had risen with the rising sun. As she waited, minutes, hours kept slipping by, and yet no sign of him. She didn't know why. The sun had hanged over the rains to the moon. She knew the lights would be turned off soon. She sat in that nursing home on her special day, sad and lonely, now waiting for the next Mother's Day. All right, here's the balance. We got a little balance here.
Okay.
The second one is called Reflection. He feels weak, drained, gray-haired, and worn out. And when he looked in the mirror, he had no doubt. Now feeble and frail, he struggles with every chore. He wondered why, when young, he didn't do more. Never did he shoot baskets, or did he enlist to assist. He felt sad for all the Little League games he had missed. Back then, pursuit of a career was his ultimate goal. And to fulfill his ambition, no sacrifice was too small. He wondered if it was too late to relive the past. He knew that he must act, and that very fast. Just then the phone rang, and he heard his son say, "Hi, Dad, we're coming to wish you a happy Father's Day." As he glanced again in the same mirror this time, staring back was a smiling young man in his prime.
It is a interesting counterbalance. You have the father having a very joyous and happy Father's Day, and the mother, unfortunately, suffers no such joy. And that's an interesting contrast right there.
Yes. So I think, poetry brings on all kinds of emotions. And we have to be prepared to accept those emotions. And hopefully overall in the poems that you read and that you write, you find that balance between the two that's just right for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Definitely thank you to VJ for those.
Yeah, they were wonderful. Very, very, you could really feel the emotion there.
Yes.
He definitely did a good job capturing that emotion and really changing that. Okay. Cheri, what do you have?
Art, you didn't want to read one of yours first?
Oh, I could do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Either one of you. Yeah. Did Art have another one of his own?
Yes.
I have a few of my own from my favorite book. But let Louis read one, and then if you'd like, I'll read an next, but I'm waiting to hear yours for the first time.
Okay. We're all too excited, right, to hear the other ones.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. Exciting.
So I'll do this first one here. Now, as we all know, poetry is also the basis of a lot of lyrics to music and songs. And many a song over the centuries have begun as poems and were turned into lyrics and put to music. So this one I chose is apropos to the time. And I've chosen a very popular classic, Jimmy Buffett's Changes in Latitudes and Changes in Attitudes. And what's fun about this is that you hear the song all your life, and it's practically it's like almost like an earworm sometimes here. But you don't always know the words. You know, sometimes you're humming along, and you remember the memory, but the words, what's the words? So here it is, read in prose, and hopefully you'll have a new view on the song. So here we go. Changes in Latitudes, Changes in Attitudes by Jimmy Buffett. I took off for a weekend last month just to try and recall the whole year. All of the faces and all of the places, wondering where they all disappeared. I didn't ponder the question too long. I was hungry and I went out for a bite. Ran into a chum with a bottle of rum, and we wound up drinking all night. As these changes in latitudes, changes in attitudes, nothing remains quite the same. With all of our running and all of our cunning, if we couldn't laugh, we would all go insane. Reading departure signs in some big airport reminds me of the places I've been. Visions of good times that brought so much pleasure makes me want to go back again. If it suddenly ended tomorrow, I could somehow adjust to the fall. Good times and riches and son of a bitches, I've seen more than I can recall. It's these changes in latitudes, changes in attitudes, nothing remains quite the same. Through all of the islands and all of the highlands, if we couldn't laugh, we would all go insane. I think about Paris when I'm high on red wine. I wish I could jump on a plane. So many nights I just dream of the ocean. God, I wish I was sailing again. Oh, yesterday's over my shoulder, so I can't look back for too long. There's just too much to see waiting in front of me, and I know that I just can't go wrong. With these changes in latitudes, changes in attitudes, nothing remains quite the same. With all of my cunning and all of my running, if I couldn't laugh, I would just go insane. If we couldn't laugh, we just would go insane. If we weren't all crazy, we would go insane. Jimmy Buffett.
Very nice.
Very good.
I could taste the margaritas right now, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, but yeah, this is a great little song, and you know, living in New York and New Jersey, we all know that anytime we leave this area, go traveling, pretty much anywhere else, the attitudes literally do change with the latitudes. That is so true.
Yeah. Have you been to Key West?
Not yet. I want to go so
Oh,
bad.
I went once,
Yeah.
and yes, things are very different. People are very different. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah, you'd
Yeah.
like it.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that one day. That's on my bucket list. So
Yeah, there you go.
cool. Now the funny thing about the song was when it was first released,
Mhm.
it didn't really make it in the top charts. It was never
Oh.
really. Apparently, I mean, it was. I read in researching this a little bit. Apparently, it was considered too country-ish and not rocky enough for the disco.
Oh.
So it was popular, but it was never really in the top rung there. So, but still, a classic.
And it made it.
Yeah.
Here we are down the road, still
Okay.
talking it.
So, Sherry, I'll pass it on to you.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna go with my beach one first,
Oh, okay.
tapping off what you have going on.
All right.
The beach. Come to the beach where the sea is blue and the little white waves come running at you. A wave comes splashing over your toes. You just stand still and away it goes. We'll build a castle down by the sea and look for shells if you'll come with me.
Oh, that's great. Is that your poem, Sherry?
It is not my poem, but I love it.
Who wrote that poem?
It's author unknown.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. But so I think it just reminded me of me going to the beach, especially like during COVID.
Mhm.
Before COVID, we really I like to spend a lot of time there. Matt doesn't like to spend any time there, so we split the difference.
Mhm.
But you know, since COVID, you know, I feel like we just kind of went down, waves came at you. We did
Mhm.
beach cleanup last year, that was it. And you know, I feel like that was this is what the times were like. This year we went and looked for shells, you know, we're working on the apartment, so we didn't have that much time yet. So I really feel that this was my life at the beach so far this year. Normally, I would like to sit there forever.
Mhm.
Yes.
Well, definitely, I think it highlights just the simple joys of being on a quiet beach. I think one of the fortunate things that we had living here in Belmar, I'm sure people in other short towns will like this too, is that we had easy access to the beach, so
Yeah.
we could escape somewhere a little bit, and that ocean waves, finding the shells, and all that other fun stuff. There's a like quiet, distinct little pleasures that help us made us through this whole thing. So definitely
Yeah.
not. It's a great poem to share on that topic.
Also, I feel like L Street Beach right here is like at the end of my street
Mhm.
practically.
Mhm.
And I feel like, you know, a lot of times there's nobody there. You can just go take a book almost at
Mhm.
sunset and read until the sun sets and watch the sunset. And
Mhm.
there's no one around. You're just reading. Matt likes to read too, so we can go and sit and read together.
Mhm.
And so I like that a lot too.
Cool.
I don't have to just be in the hustle and bustle. I like it all. All right.
That beach and the McCleary Park in the area are beautiful for watching the sunset.
Yes, I live on Briarwood, which is one street up from L,
Mhm.
or down, whichever way you're going. And so when we came to move here, I really liked, you know, the little beach and the park and the sunset and the off the beaten path, you know,
Yeah.
like, you know, on 4th of July, I can sit outside and you can't even tell it's 4th of July here. There's plenty of parking still, you know, so I
That's
like,
good.
yeah, very simple. And I
Cool.
like,
All right.
all right, my second one is also author unknown. And this was written by, I wanted to, oh, I changed my mind. I'm gonna go with this one. This is a poem from Cyril, Cyril, Crane, Crain, who's a Juneau veteran. And, you know, we have attachment here in Belmar to the ship, the Juneau.
Mhm.
And so, and I feel very strongly for what they did for us in our freedom, always. So this is titled Normandy. Come and stand in memory of men who fought and died. They gave their lives in Normandy. Remember them with pride. Soldiers, airmen, sailors, airborne and Marines, who in the civvy life were tailors and men who worked machines. British and Canadian and men from USA, forces from the Commonwealth, they were all there that day. To Juneau soared in Utah, beaches of renown, also gold in Omaha, that's where ramps went down. The battle raged in Normandy, many lives were lost. The war must end in victory, and this must be the cost. Of men who fought and died, they gave their lives in Normandy. Remember them with pride.
You did that very well.
Thank you.
The
So,
song, I mean, the poem it speaks similarly to how Charter of the Light Brigade is. You know, they talk about the valor, what they fought, they did, and at the very end,
yeah,
Charter of the Light Brigade is honor the Light Brigade. You know, honor the charge they made. And the same thing here is remember, what was the last line you said on that poem there?
No, I'm sorry. Hold on. Remember them with pride.
Remember them with pride.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's always remember the fight, the valor that they did, because
Yeah. And be proud of what they did, you know? I think that if you're not, then it loses something for all that they did for us.
Yes.
You know, just on the anniversary here, I thought that was appropriate.
Absolutely.
There's a long history of poems of valor. And, you know, going back to the time of the Trojan War, there were poems at that time speaking of the valor of those who were fighting, and throughout history from one generation to the next. And, you know, the poem that you read was just another step along the way in these poems of valor.
And they did so much. I mean, people like us would have gone, you know, then, you know, you didn't really, they weren't like a calling, you know, like now I think a lot of people feel the calling and sign up. Back then it didn't matter. Your number was called, you went, you know, and that is
Right.
a tougher thing, I think, to do, you know.
Yeah,
And
to accept that you're being called to do that.
yeah. And to, you know, I mean, you have to make peace with that quickly, you know.
And what makes it all the more worthy of respect and honor is the fact that they did answer this call of duty. And Art, I know we've had poems about duty in previous sessions.
Yeah.
And duty is something that is sometimes is almost always not the preferable thing to do. We all want to do something else, but the fact that we respond to and we do our duty and to our brethren, to our brothers and things like that, and sisters, that's what makes it all the more special and honorable at the end. And that's and every time that's highlighted and spoken about, I think it's an important and wonderful thing. So
I agree.
wonderful.
Cheri, have you seen the Juno exhibit at the town hall?
Yes, I have. And I also went to, they had a memorial ceremony. We didn't go last year due to COVID. I don't even know if they had it, but at the church they have every year the ceremony. We go to that too. I believe it's on a
Very nice.
Tuesday night, but don't quote me. Only because Matt went and he didn't work Tuesday night. So I think, so yes, we went to both of those. And then I remember it was St. Patrick's Day that they found the remains that they had pulled up from the ocean, and the 4 boys that died from, you know, Belmar here, you know, that were Irish, and they thought that was a great tribute to pull them up on St. Patrick's Day. You know, I remember that also. Yes. So that's nice also too. For
It's apropos. It's very
Yes.
apropos.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Thanks for that, Cheri.
Yep.
So where are we looping around? I think Art, is now your turn again.
Art has his own. Yeah.
Back to you.
It's back to me.
Art didn't do you didn't do your own, did you?
All right, here we go.
Okay, go for it.
So let's see. All right. So you know that I like a certain humor in my poetry. This is a poem called "The Height of Ridiculousness" by Oliver Wendell Holmes, a 19th century poet whose son went on to be a justice in the U.S. Supreme Court. This is "The Height of the Ridiculousness" by Oliver Wendell Holmes. I wrote some lines once upon a time in a wondrous merry mood, and thought, as usual, men would say, they were exceedingly good. They were so queer, so very queer, I laughed as I would die, albeit in a general way. A sober man am I. I called my servant, and he came. How kind it is of him to mind a slender man like me, he of the mighty limb. These to the printer I exclaimed, And in my humorous way, I added, in a trifling jest, there'll be the devil to pay. He took the paper, and I watched, and saw him peep within. At the first line he read, his face was all upon a grin. He read the next, the grin grew broad, and shot from ear to ear. He read the third, a chuckling noise I now began to hear. The fourth, he broke into a roar. The fifth, his waistband split. The sixth, he burst 5 buttons off and tumbled in a fit. 10 days and nights with sleepless eye, I watched that wretched man. And since, I've never dared to write as funny as I can. I think that's extremely clever poem.
That is very clever.
Yes.
Mhm.
You kind of have to think about
Right.
it a little bit on some of those lines, but it's good. He was definitely one of the better poets around, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, all right, back to you now.
My turn? Okay, so this one is also somewhat, it's also kind of military based, but it's a slightly different tack. This is a classic poem by Rudyard Kipling, Gunga Din. Now, the poem, it was written in 1890, and now Rudyard Kipling is known as the poet of the British Empire. And if you read a lot of his poems, he talks a lot about the history of the British Empire as he experienced it in his day. So the poem is a rhyming narrative from the point of view of a British soldier in India. And its main character is an Indian water carrier called Abishti, who, after the narrator is wounded in battle, saves his life only to be shot and killed himself. In the final 3 lines, the soldier regrets the abuse that he and his partners dealt to Din, and admits that Din is a better man. And the poem was published as part of a set of martial poems called the Barrack Room Ballads. So Gunga Din is named after the Indian water bearer, and portrays him as a heroic character who is not afraid to face danger on the battlefield as he tends to wounded men. And the white soldiers who ordered Din around and beat him for not bringing the water fast enough are presented as being callous and shallow and ultimately inferior to him. So, and the other note is, although Din is frequently pronounced to rhyme with pin, like Din, Gunga Din, it really is meant to be pronounced Dean, as in rhyming with green. So you'll see in the poem that it'll match up that way. So here's Gunga Din by Rudyard Kipling. You may talk of gin and beer when you're quartered safe out here, and you're sent to penny fights and Aldershot Inn. But when it comes to slaughter, you will do your work in water, and you'll lick the bloomin' boots of him that's got it. Now in India's sunny clime, where I used to spend my time, a servant of Her Majesty the Queen, of all them black-faced crew, the finest man I knew was our regimental Bishti, Gunga Din. He was Din, 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 you limpin' lump of brisk dust, Gunga Din. Hi, slippy hero, water, get it, pupper low, you squidgy-nosed old idol, Gunga Din. The uniform he wore was nothing much before, and rather less than after that behind. For a piece of twitey rag and goatskin water bag was all the field equipment he could find. When the sweating troop train lay in a siding through the day, where the heat would make your bloomin' eyebrows crawl, we shouted, "Harry by!" till our throats were brisky dry. Then we whopped him because he couldn't serve us all. It was Dean, 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 you heathen, where the mischief have you been? You put some jewelry in it, or I'll marry you this minute if you don't fill up my helmet, Gunga Din. He would dot and carry one till the longest day was done, and he didn't seem to know the use of fear. If we charged or broke or cut, you could bet your bloomin' nut he'd be waiting 50 paces right flank rear. With his musket on his back, he would skip with our attack and watch us till the bugles made retreat and retire. And for all he's dirty-eyed, he was white, clear white inside when he went to tend the wounded under fire. It was Dean, 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 with the bullets kicking burst spots on the green. When the cartridges ran out, you could hear the front ranks shout, "Hi, ammunition mules and Gunga Din." I shan't forget the night when I dropped behind the fight with a bullet where my belt plate should have been. I was choking mad with thirst, and the man that spied me first was our good old grinning, grunting Gunga Din. He lifted up my head and he plugged me where I bled. And he gave me half a pint of water, green. It was crawling and it stank. But of all the drinks I've drank, I'm gratefulest to one from Gunga Din. It was Dean, Dean, Dean. Here's a beggar with a bullet through his spleen. He's chewing up the ground and he's kicking all around. For God's sake, get the water, Gunga Din. He carried me away to where a dooley lay, and a bullet came and drilled the beggar clean. He put me safe inside, and just before he died, "I hope you liked your drink," says Gunga Din. So I'll meet him later on at the place where he's gone, where it's always double drill and no canteen. He'll be squatting on the coals, giving drink to poor damn souls, and I'll get a swig in hell from Gunga Din. Yes, Dean, 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 you Lazarusian leather Gunga Din. Though I've belted you and flayed you by the living God that made you, you're a better man than I am, Gunga Din. Roger Cabling.
Good job. Well
Very
done.
good. Yeah,
What a story.
I know, right?
Yeah. It's a great story and it has that language of the time, and you did so well getting it across. Good job, Lewis.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's an amazing story of a turnaround of someone who realizes how wrong he's treated somebody, only to find that that person was worth more than how he thought of him. And it's a great story of, I don't know if redemption is the right word, but realization, I guess, coming to realize that. But that was a great story. I loved it. They made a movie. They actually made a couple of movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
The first one they made was back in the 1930s. I forget who was on it. Some famous people were on it. And then they made a second one based in the West and starring their old Rat Pack,
Really?
Yeah, it was different. So they altered it to the new scene. So it was interesting, but definitely the original is the best in my opinion. So, all right. So that's all I have for now. Who's got anything left?
All right, do you want to do one before I have to go?
Do you have one more to give, and then I'll do one before you go?
Just you do one. I don't have anything great, spectacular. That was my plan. I'd rather listen to you.
Okay. So, I'll save the limericks for when Sharon is with us, because I think she did limericks last time, and I have a few here. Hopefully they'll complement each other. So I was talking to Lewis before and saying how Edgar Allan Poe's work is very special to me, but it's also a challenge to read because of trickiness of the rhyme schemes and the language of the time, but I'm going to give it a chance. This is called The Bells. The Bells by Edgar Allan Poe. Hear the sledges of the bells, silver bells. What a world of merriment their melody foretells. How they tinkle, tinkle, tinkle in the icy air of night, while the stars that oversprinkle all the heavens seem to twinkle like the crystalline delight. Keeping time, time, time in a sort of runic rhyme to the tin tabulation that so musically wells from the bells, 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 from the jingling and the tingling of the bells. Hear the mellow wedding bells, golden bells. What a world of happiness their harmony foretells. Through the balmy air of night, how they ring out with delight from the molten golden notes, and all in tune with the liquid ditty floats to the turtle dove that listens while she gloats upon the moon. Now form out the sounding cells. What a gush of ephony voluminously wells, how it swells, how it dwells on the future, how it tells of the rapture that impels to the singing and the ringing of the bells, 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 of the bells, 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 of the rhyming and the chiming of the bells. Hear the loud alarm bells, brazen bells. What a tale of terror now their turbulency tells. In the startled ear of night, how they scream out in affright to the horrified, too much horrified to speak. They can only shriek and shriek out of tune in a clamorous appealing to the mercy of the fire, in the mad expostulation of the deaf and frantic fire, leaping higher, 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 with a desperate desire and a resolute endeavor, now to sit or never. By the side of the pale-faced moon, oh, the bells, 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 what a tale of terror tells, of despair, how they clang and clash and roar. What a horror they outpour on the bosom of the palpitating air. Yet the ear is fully knows by the twanging and the clanging, how the danger ebbs and flows. On the ear distinctly tells in the jangling and the wrangling, how the danger sinks and swells by the sinking and the swelling in the anger of the bells, of the bells, of the bells, 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 in the clamor and the clangor of the bells. Hear the tolling of the bells, iron bells. What a world of solemn thought their monody compels. In the silence of the night, how we shiver with affright at the melancholy menace of their tone. For every sound that floats from the rust within their
Art, can you hear me, Art? We lost you for a second. Sherry, you're still there, right? Okay. Oh my. Oops. Oh man. I don't know what to say. All right, looks like we lost Art there for a second. Hopefully I can click back in. Oh well.
All right, I have to go, unfortunately. I'm
All right.
sorry.
Well,
There's a
that's fine.
benefit at DJ's for a labor union, Michael Ryan and Ava. So I'm going to that.
Okay. Cool.
But it started at 6, but I really wanted to come to this.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us again.
I enjoyed
Sherry.
myself, yes.
You're welcome anytime. I'd love to have you back. Oh, there's Arthur back again.
All right.
Okay. We'll see if he can pick up left off. You have to head off though, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Art, you might want to unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself, Art. Unmute yourself. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah, we lost you there for a second. I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah, lightning caused the flashing of my electricity in the house.
Oh, okay. All right. So Cheri had to go. So why don't you pick up where you left off, a stanza or two back, and unless you want to start from the beginning again, you can do that if you want to.
Well, do we have Sharon with us?
She has not joined in yet. I figure it's supposed to end at her thing ended at 6:30, so you figure give her time to get home. So we'll see what she
Okay.
does. So
Well, it's a little longer, but I don't mind reading it from the start.
yeah, go ahead. I'd like to hear it
Do
again.
you want me to read it?
Yeah, read it from the start. I think I'd like to hear it
Okay.
again.
So, The Bell
Okay, here we go.
by Edgar Allan Poe. Hear the sledges with the bells, silver bells. What a world of merriment their melody foretells. How they tinkle, tinkle, tinkle in the icy air of night, while the stars that oversprinkle all the heavens seem to twinkle with a crystalline delight, keeping time, time, time in a sort of runic rhyme to the tin tabulation that so musically wells from the bells, 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 from the jangling and the tingling of the bells. Hear the mellow wedding bells, golden bells, with a world of happiness their harmony foretells, through the balmy air of night, how they ring out with delight, from the molten golden notes, and all in tune, what a liquid ditty floats, to the turtle dove that listens while she gloats on the moon. Oh, from out the sounding cells, what a gush of ephony voluminously wells, how it swells, how it dwells on the future, how it tells of the rapture that impels to the swinging and the ringing of the bells, 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 of the bells, 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 to the rhyming and the chiming of the bells. Hear the loud alarm bells, brazen bells. What a tale of terror now their turbulency tells. In the startled ear of night, how they scream out their affright, too much horrified to speak, that they only shriek, shriek out of tune, in a clamorous appealing to the mercy of the fire, in a mad extopulation of the deaf and frantic fire, leaping higher, 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 with a desperate desire and a resolute endeavor now, now to sit or never. By the side of the pale-faced moon, oh, the bells, 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 bells. What a tale the terror tells of despair, how they clang and clash and roar. What a horror they outpour of the bosom of the palpitating air. Yet the ear it fully knows by the twanging and the clanging, how the danger ebbs and flows. Yet the ear distinctly tells in the jangling and the wrangling, how the danger sinks and swells by the sinking and the swelling in the anger of the bells, of the bells, of the bells, 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 in the clamor and the clangor of the bells. Hear the tolling of the bells, iron bells. What a world of solemn thought their monody compels. In the silence of the night, how they shiver with affright at the melancholy menace of their tone. For every sound that floats from the rust within their throats is a groan. And the people, the people, they that dwell up in the steeple all alone, and who tolling, tolling, tolling in the muffled monotone, feel the glory in so rolling on the human heart a stone. And neither man nor woman, they are neither brute nor human, they are ghouls, and their king it is who tolls, and he rolls, 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 a pagan from the bells, and his merry bosom swells with the pagan of the bell, and he dances and he yells, keeping time, time, time in a sort of runic rhyme to the pagan of the bells, keeping time, time, time in a sort of runic rhyme to the throbbing of the bells, 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 of the sobbing of the bells, keeping time, time, time to his knells, 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 in a happy runic rhyme to the rolling of the bells, bells, to the tolling of the bells, 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 to the moaning and groaning of the bells. Heavy on bells there, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he did definitely named it right. And what found it interesting was like, as you were reading this, I was kind of writing down, at least initially, how many types of bells he was talking about. He starts with sleigh bells, goes on to clock bells, wedding bells, alarm bells, and tolling of the bells. And what he really is highlighting is all the different meanings and types of bells that we use in our lives. It's amazing.
You nailed it right on the head, Lewis. Good job.
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
I mean, you get lost in the bells, the bells, the bells, the bells, 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 but he's hammering home that bells play a big part in our lives. You know,
And many different rules,
mm-hmm.
you know, and I think the rhythm and word choices of the poem help to bring out the sound of bells, the feeling of bells, the thundering of bells. So it's a great poem, The Bells. You know, I would suggest that, you know, anybody who likes Poe and likes to get a feeling from the poem of the not the picture so much as the sounds of what the poem was trying to produce. I think this is one of the best ones. So
I
I'm
agree.
glad you let me go in second time.
Thank you. You know, I knew when we got cut off, I'm like, wait a second. This is it. We don't want to miss this. This is, you know, it's like it's like someone changed the channel just as the football is about to be caught. You know, like you don't know if you want. It's the same thing here. We got to finish the end. So that's why, and I'm glad we did it because, like you said, you know, poetry really brings out emotion in a way that regular prose just cannot. You know, and it's the same thing like in musicals where you could sit and just kind of belt out some kind of story, but it really doesn't capture anything. But you put that same story in a song or some kind of like, you know, lyrical device, and it just sticks with you, and you really get to know the joy of the wedding bells, the alarm, the fear and the dread of when you hear an alarm bell. I mean, he really brings it out. So that's why he's one of America's greatest poets. Yeah. So this was great. I think we had a very good show today. We got some really good poetry. Sherry had some pretty good ones, had some really good ones with us tonight. And I'm looking forward to hopefully she'll be back with us again. And we have our growing crew. Hopefully VJ will be back with us again soon. So
let me make a suggestion before you close.
Yes.
Did you enjoy reading the lyrics as a part of the poetry jam?
Oh yeah, I did. I mean, reading this in many ways changed my view of the song, because when you read it and you kind of like divorce it from the melody and the musical instruments behind it, and you're kind of focusing just on the words there, you know, I got a new appreciation for the song. I mean, I've always liked the song a lot. I mean, enjoy, you know, it's on my music list and everything. But when you read things like I'm looking at over here, reading departure signs in some big airport reminds me of the places I've been. Visions of good times that brought so much pleasure makes me want to go back again. One of the things that I enjoy in life is travel. And you know, I've been to Europe, I've been to South America and across the country. And again, it's like going to new places and exploring them has always been a passion of mine. I enjoy it. So this kind of spoke to me in that sense, because you also notice the changes in culture, the changes in people, the changes in attitudes. And this song spoke to me in many ways on that level. And reading it, I think, was good, because I hope that people listening to this would hear the song for the first time, you know, and the meaning for it. It's about get up there and go. Visit, see, and visit the world and all that stuff, and not worry about otherwise. Because if you don't go, you'll go insane, right? So yes,
All right. That was a good part of today's show.
yeah. I hope everyone enjoyed it. That so, but so you're right. To answer your question, yes, I did enjoy it very much, and I'll probably do it again. Not this song, but we'll do something else. So cool. So everyone. Unfortunately, Cheri had to leave. She left a little while ago. I want to thank her again for joining us. Looking forward to her having join us again in the near future, and hopefully
Thank you,
we'll have more
Cheri.
poems. Huh? What?
I said, thank you, Cheri.
Oh yes, thank you, Cheri, and we're looking forward to hopefully Sharon and others. And a plug for anyone you watching out there: if you want to read poetry and join us and share some poetry, whether it be yourself or your own poetry, classical or contemporary, let us know. Call us at the library, 732-681-0775, or visit our website and join us. And we'd love to have you on and share more poetry, because we're always looking for more poets. So with that, I want to wish everyone a good night. Art, any last words before we go?
Just to thank everybody for listening, and to also say that, yes, we welcome anybody who is a poet or wants to read poetry. It's out there, and why not share it with the rest of us?
Thanks, Art. Now I'm going to close it with one final surprise announcement, is that the library will be reopening on the next couple of weeks. Next Poetry Jam is scheduled for Wednesday, July 23rd. That will be our last Zoom Poetry Jam session. Every session after that will be live in person at the library. So be ready to join us in person, and so we can all meet and mingle and join and talk and have a great time together. So with that, everyone, thank you very much. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time. We're now back on show. So welcome to Sharon Russell Fowler. She's back again with us, and she's got some haiku to share with us today. And Art's been looking forward to it. Art, tell her what you got in store for yourself with us.
Help me out here. What?
Oh, I thought you had limericks that you were holding.
Oh, I do have more limericks, but let Sharon have her portion.
Okay, sounds good. All right. So Sharon, share us what you got. Welcome aboard. Let's see. Share some.
Hey.
What do you got?
All right. So I'm going to be reading from, I don't know if you can see the book very well, because I'm kind of holding it in front of me.
There you go.
Better? Okay. All right. So it's Lion of the Sky. It's haiku for all seasons. And I'm just going to read the spring one. And then maybe in a couple of weeks, I'll read the summer one. Okay. The author is Laura Purdy Salas, with the illustrations by Mercy Lopez. Spring. I am a windbird, sky skipper, diamond dipper, dancing on your string. Colorful flowers, we sprout on stems of people, bloom only in rain. I'm going to stop a minute so you can see these beautiful illustrations. That was for the first one. Oh, it's a little hard holding the iPad and showing the pictures. And that's the second one. Twigs, sticks, mud, feathers. I'm a closely woven home for cheap chirping chicks. Try to say that quickly. Here's my secret. Soft petals hide inside me. Coming soon, a bloom. I really like that one because I take pictures of flowers all the time. Here's the illustration of the blue jay. As well as the bud. I'm a wriggling tube, soft underground tunneler. I fear early birds. What do you think they're describing?
Worms.
Yep, that's it, worms.
All right.
In the still damp air, you sail leaf boats across me, tiny sidewalk palmed. And so you can see the tiny pond, but here's the picture of the bird waiting for the worm to appear. Here's the other one. And that's the end of the spring ones. So summer goes into dandelions, which I think are pretty funny. So I will read, I'll read the summer one another time. But I like the haikus just because they give you a little bit of a tease and you have to kind of figure out what they're describing. I'm sorry, Art, you were saying something?
Oh, I wanted to ask a question. Is that all right?
Sure.
I love illustrated books, and I especially love books that are directed towards children. Is that a children's book?
Yes, it is. And it's in our public library.
Wonderful.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure that's going to inspire kids.
I hope so. I hope so. I used to do, I think I mentioned in the previous recording that I taught for many years, and I used to always do a portion on poetry. So we would do acrostic poems for Mother's Day and Father's Day. We would do haikus, every time I could think of an easy one for them to do. And they really enjoyed them. So I'm hoping that now that I've been out of teaching for so long, I'm hoping it's continued.
Maybe the time is once we get school started again and we open the library, we'll probably start focusing on a good poetry program for kids in here in the library too. So get them started excited about it at a young age. So
yeah, exactly.
A big part of that. So that's great.
All right.
Oh, all right. Thank you for that, Sharon. Is that all? Is that all you have for tonight, or do you have anything else?
Yeah. Only because I just got in, so I wanted to be able to chime in real quickly.
Okay. Well, Art's got some limericks.
Oh, good. I'd love to hear them.
Okay.
Did we lose him again?
Oh, no. He's back.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
Okay. So all of these limericks are by Edward Lear.
Okay, I read a couple.
Yeah, he's a fanciful writer. Many interesting and fun poems, which I really enjoy. So these are a collection of limericks by Edward Lear. I'm working my way to where I think they are in the book here. Here they are. Okay. Now, one of the interesting things about these limericks is most people kind of know the rhyming scheme of a limerick when they hear it. But in all of these limericks, there's one thing that happens throughout all the limericks. And maybe when we're done, someone will recognize what that was. So here's the first limerick. There was an old man with a beard. There was an old man with the beard who said, "It is just as I feared. Two owls and a hen, 4 larks and a wren have all built their nests in my beard." There was a young lady from Portugal. There was a young lady from Portugal whose ideas were exceedingly nautical. She climbed up a tree to examine the sea and declared she has never been to Portugal. There was a young lady whose chin. There was a young lady whose chin resembled the point of a pin. So she had it made sharp and purchased a harp and played several tunes with her chin.
Okay.
There was an old man in a boat. There was an old man in a boat who said, "I'm afloat, I'm afloat." When they said, "No, you ain't," he was ready to faint, the unhappy old man in a boat. There once was a man from Nantucket. There once was a man from Nantucket who kept all his cash in a bucket. But his daughter named Nan ran away with a man, and as for the bucket, Nantucket.
Oh,
And the last one, there once was a person from Lyme. There once was a person from Lyme who married 3 wives at a time. When asked why the third, he replied, "One's absurd, and bigamy, sir, is a crime."
Oh my.
That was good.
I am at a loss of what the the thread is. What's the connecting all three? I'm thinking about this. From the beard, first one with the beard. Okay.
So
But they all have the same rhyme pattern, which we
Right.
they
know.
all have the same rhyme pattern.
Mhm.
Now,
Yeah.
it might not be true for the last one. Let's see, what is the last one here? Yeah, the last one rhymes lime with time and then with crime. But the rest of the poems, Nantucket, bucket, and Nantucket, boat, afloat, and boat, chin, pin, and chin,
Okay.
Portugal, nautical, and Portugal. So the last word of the first line was always the last word of the
Last line. Mhm.
Oh, okay, I get it. So it was a structural connection as opposed to, I thought there was something with the actual story across the thread. It was a different thing. Wow. I love that.
Yeah,
Nantucket one.
I think his were a little cleaner than mine were last time.
You guys were a little racier
one
last
from Nantucket, right?
I love the Nantucket one. That was really good.
Yeah, that was cute. That was cute.
As for the bucket, Nantucket. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, the one with
The wives.
the wives, the 3 wives. That's a good why 3.
Mm.
That's good. All
Bigamy,
right.
sir, is a crime.
Mm-hmm. So, oh, that's fantastic. Well, once again, thank you all for coming. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you Art, again. I'm gonna add this to the rest of the show, tack it onto our video, and then it'll be nice. Everyone's going to enjoy. Sharon, just so you know, I told Art that next poetry jam will be the last Zoom session jam, with all further jams after that will be live in person at the library.
Yay!
So we're all looking forward to being together and enjoying it and schmoozing and maybe boozing afterwards. So we'll have a great time. So with that being said, I want to wish everyone a good thank you and a happy evening, and we look forward to seeing you again next time.